John Frost looked on the gathered crowd, now 3,000 strong. With heavy heart, his voice rang loud as he sang this loveless song. God is a guide from field, from wave, from plough, from anvil, and from loom. We come our country's rights to save and speak a tyrant faction's doom. We raise the watchword liberty. We will be free. For when the rising tide is turned in every London quarter, Parliament comes crashing down with Robert's Rules of Order. And bobbies took an oath to be our nation's warders, swearing that they would enforce Sir Robert's Rules of Order. To Newport rose a million friends who rallied each supporter to join this flood of working men against Robert's Rules of Order. For when the rising tide is turned in every London quarter, Parliament comes crashing down with Robert's Rules of Order. Like this, on the steps of Parliament, John Frost stood proud and tall. A hush fell on this great event as he told them one and all, depose the gentry and the crown, depose the House of Lords, or join the Queen in exile by Robert's Rules of Order. So Chartists, Luddites, Communists, recall each faithful martyr who died so you could have your new world Robert's Rules of Order. Say it loud, vote your favor, shout it high. All in favor, you say aye. Favor, aye, favor. Aye. A mandate of the people's cry. Favor, aye, favor. Aye. Let's hear the opposition side. Like a stubborn donkey's bray. All opposed, you say nay. Opposed, opposed. The motion carries anyway. Currents change and bring to us our tear-corrupted warder. In chains subdued and ill-abused, he's left with no supporters. Mobility's will can then proceed by our own rules of order, and we'll all cheer for country's sake when Robert's drawn in quarter. For when the rising tide is turned in every London quarter, Parliament shall be reborn with Robert's Rules of Order.
That one quickly. All right.
Hi.
So this is a blast from the past, and we're sitting really close together. Only way to get my camera in frame. But I might be able to, like, because we got really big heads in the screen. No, but then it doesn't take whatever. I have the camera set up for single. All right, we're gonna add.
This is a special edition.
This is definitely a special edition. Those of you,
what the heck was that?
That was me. Just they don't see that.
Okay.
I'm trying to get this thing out of your face. Let's move that
over there.
There you
go. That's way out of the way.
All right. So we're ad-libbing this.
This is the first time I've been back in studio here in 2 years?
Yeah, about 2 years. Everything's been remote.
Yeah.
And this was just something that came up in the LNC meeting. Check out Pink Flame of Liberty, the LNC meeting. So we're ad-libbing this. If we get something wrong, please let us know in chat or whatever. Fairly certain we're correct, but it might not be perfect. So what happened?
We're winging it, folks.
We're winging it. What happened, I'll describe, and then I'll let Mike finally have a word in edgewise, but he's used to being around a bunch of women that won't let him get a word in edgewise. So there was a motion that passed because embezzlement is theft. And Mike can't say anything about that, JC stuff. I can say anything I want about that. He's keeping his mouth shut. So there was a motion that passed to retain a certain law firm to sue the former chair for alleged wrongdoing. I don't remember the name of the law firm. It doesn't matter. They specialize in that kind of thing. Mr. Martin moved to amend that motion to put in a different law firm. The different law firm happened to be a trademark law firm who obviously is not qualified because their specialty. I know the law firm. They're a great trademark law firm.
Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe?
No, it's Fresh IP. It's Cliff Hyra out of Virginia. He's a great guy.
And yes, I was doing my bobblehead imitation there because no, I wasn't saying a thing.
No, and we're not going to get into any of that anymore, any of the merits of that. So,
or the demerits.
So they moved to substitute in Fresh IP for whatever this contract law firm is. I don't even remember their name. Now, of course, Fresh IP does IP. They're not qualified to do this, but whether someone's qualified or not, that amendment would be in order to hire a different law firm for the same purpose. But then Austin Martin, through his typical AI psychosis induced fit, and
not her words.
Yeah. And yeah, those are Stephen Nikhil's words actually. And moved not just to substitute the law firm, but to strike out to initiate suit against the former chair and to dedicate it to the New Mexico trademark litigation. There's already money put aside for that was dealt with by an email ballot. So this was a special meeting. And Vice Chair Dar was handling the motion at the time. It's not a criticism against Vice Chair Dar because anyone could have raised a point of order. So if this is taken as a criticism by me of anybody, it's of the entire LNC. Somebody should have raised a point of order.
Okay, wait a minute. Let me interrupt real quick.
Okay, yeah.
What was the specific original scope on the notice for the special meeting?
It was to hire X law firm to initiate suit against former Chair McCardle.
So specifically that firm and that case.
Yes.
Against that person. Okay.
And then Austin Martin moved to amend. He says he said something else, but let's deal with what was heard.
Martin babbles a lot.
Yeah. Let's just deal at least what was first heard. He moved to substitute in a different law firm, and one that doesn't handle that kind of law, but a different law firm.
Okay.
I think that amendment would be in order.
I agree. That would be within scope, even if it's a bad idea if they're the wrong type of law firm.
Right. But then he argued and said, no, you didn't hear me right, whatever. I'm not going to get into that. He goes, I actually moved to amend to make it a different law firm and a different subject of litigation.
No.
At that point, because this is a special meeting, and what was noticed was to initiate, to file a retainer or pay a retainer to initiate lawsuit against McCardle. To me, changing the entire subject of the litigation is outside scope of notice.
Okay, let me throw a couple of things at this then, real quick. You've got 4 possible ways to do this. You've got leave it alone as is, which is pretty straightforward. You've got change the law firm,
right,
which we agree would be within scope. You but still keep the subject of the litigation. You've got change both, which I think we both agree is whack.
Right.
And then you've got the 4th option, which is keep the law firm but change the scope of the litigation.
And
How does that one fall?
I think that would be out of order.
Okay.
I think because the subject of that, there's already been authorized. This is what throws a little bit of a monkey wrench in it. Trademark litigation has already been authorized before in an email motion.
Okay.
So to me, this would be increasing the budget for it, and that's outside of scope.
Okay, that's fair.
It'd be outside. So I don't.
Without that piece of information, though, if it was just those 4 options,
I think it would still be out of scope.
Okay.
Because that isn't the topic. Nobody was there prepared for that.
For the alt. Okay, that's
right.
fair.
I think changing the law firm. Now, Austin flipped out and started saying, now let's get into something that doesn't deal with the LNC, because I hope you don't mind me embarrassing you. Can I embarrass you?
Austin flips out for having a hair out of place, but anyway.
And hairs are always out of place.
Yes.
Can I embarrass you?
About what?
From a mistake you made a long time ago.
Yeah, what the hell?
Remember back when you took the NAP entrance exam, the basic entrance exam?
The entrance exam, yeah, way back when.
And do you remember the question you got wrong?
No.
Because you talked to me about it.
I erased that trauma from my memory.
But you passed it. You passed
Yes.
it. Which is, and here's Richard. Richard agrees it was out. I need to change the colors because this is for my other show, but you can see it on your shirt.
By the way, folks, just a quick interjection. This is the first attempt I've ever done at making my own tie-dye. I was given a kit for Christmas, and I said, "Oh, let's try it." And this is the initial result. Okay, it ain't perfect.
And Richard, you missed the two of us together. It's like, but in any event, Austin started flipping out, even though it wasn't relevant. But this is going back to your NAP exam.
Okay.
I think you only got one question wrong, but the question you got wrong is, can you amend a motion to make it, but this is talking about in a regular meeting. Once you add in a special meeting, it's a whole other different thing.
Sure.
But in a regular meeting, can you amend a motion to mean the opposite of what the mover intended? And you had said no at that time.
And Roberts specifically does say yes, you can.
So if there's a motion,
there's a specific reference in Roberts,
right,
where it says you can change a commending to a censure. Which is exactly a flip.
Right. So if there was a motion to commend Mike Seebeck, I, as the pain in the ass I am, could move to strike commend and make censure.
Censure? You're mellowing out. It used to be hang me at 2:00.
Yeah, I know. I've gotten way more mellow. So you can, now again, that's not dealing with a special meeting. I actually think that would still be in scope of notice for a special meeting, because to me the subject is doing something to Mike Seebeck.
That raises the question then, is that
what do you think, Richard? In a special meeting,
how specific does it have to be, is the question.
Yeah, but I do think it's a matter of interpretation. I'm interested in what Richard would think. If there was a special meeting and the noticed motion, and again, we aren't required to give the exact language, but is to commend Mike Seebeck, would it be in order to move to strike and make it censure? And he says, yes, I do think that would be, because the subject is, I'm going to put this up.
Oh, that's from the original mapping.
Yeah. Because I think the subject is to do some sort of action that expresses the opinion of the body, in this case the LNC, but any body, regarding your actions. But I don't think we could strike out Mike Seebeck and substitute in somebody entirely different. And that's what I think went on here.
And that goes to the whole question of how specific can you get? I mean, the four options I presented earlier was, the subject of the motion, or the reason for the motion, or some combination thereof, or none of the above. So
I think
does. Wait, does the scope of how specific does the scope of the meeting prescribe germaneness in the meeting? I think that's the ultimate question there. And I'm not sure what the right answer is. I mean, to me, it says what it says, and you don't go outside of that. But
in general, in one session, something is germane to the motion if the amendment could not be brought up later in that same session as an independent motion because it would conflict with the prior motion already adopted. So censure is in order because if the motion to commend passes, you cannot immediately turn around and move to censure. Okay. You would have to reconsider the other one. Then, there's like certain... you can't always definitively tell when something's germane. It is a bit of a judgment call, but there's certain criteria in Roberts where it says definitely something. Yeah, being a special meeting does make all the difference.
Because a special meeting, when it's called, and we've seen this recently with some LNC stuff, without going into details of what we've been hearing in appeals, has to indicate specifically, besides the date, the time, and all that good stuff, what the purported scope of notice for the meeting actually is. One of the arguments we see on the JC is, well, do you have just a certain amount of time notice for that meeting? And the answer is no, you don't have to have a certain amount of time because the notice type is in the meeting notice itself.
And it doesn't, and Roberts doesn't require the exact language of the motion.
It does not.
The subject. And that's why I'm saying the subject in this case was initiating suit against the former chair.
Right.
And that's why changing that subject, the law firm is extrinsic.
Right. That's part of it, but it's not the core of it.
Right.
Which brings the question then, which is where I was going in the first place. And I'm not saying you're right or wrong, but this goes into the depth of it, is that if the subject of the notice is the bringing the litigation, the object of that subject being against so and so is directly tied to that subject by definition, both grammatically and otherwise. So the question is, does changing that object, even though the subject's the same, does that change the scope? And what you're saying is you think it does.
Yeah, I don't think they could have amended it to include other people too. Not that I think that the LNC would have a case for this. I'm not saying whether they would or they wouldn't.
Right.
But say somebody wanted to move to say, not just against Angela, but also against her domestic partner. I actually think that would be outside of scope. It's expanding. It's expanding.
I can see the argument in expanding it, definitely.
Yeah.
So there is the scope. The scope is when it describes a specific bounds of what you're working with. Going outside of that bounds as a problem, and maybe that's where you're getting the argument about the idea of changing the recipient of the litigation.
Yeah.
But at the same time, who's doing that is still within the scope of what's going on there.
But it's I don't think the identity of a law firm is that important. It's hiring a law firm. Yeah. Even so, I think Austin was perfectly, even though I think it was a dirty move, it doesn't mean it was parliamentarily illegal.
Right.
By substituting in a law firm that doesn't do that kind of work is in fact trying to defeat the motion by not making it the opposite, but by making it impossible. But I think he was allowed to do that. But the minute he tried to change the target of the litigation, it was outside of scope. And
that makes sense.
And I don't know why. And it isn't just that people in the LNC didn't raise a point of order. People in the LNC were affirmatively arguing that it was an order. Like, it wasn't like it just went over everyone's head and they just moved on. People were actually saying, no, that's within this. And I don't think so.
I was probably in the shower at that point. So the question is that was anybody on the LNC arguing that it was out of order?
No.
Really?
No. Maybe somebody was for it to come up. I want to show you. I always frantically text in meetings. Now you'll see you'll see my all caps text, but they don't pay attention to me. Well, I spelled SCO.
It's not a SCO. It's SCOE. SCO. That is SCOE.
Oh, okay.
That's okay. That's okay. I was doing a Zoom meeting from my phone in the middle of downtown Springs this afternoon but I couldn't take the minutes because I can't do that on my phone.
So, in general, because I don't want you to say anything that would get you in any kind of parliamentary trouble. We had a good Colorado convention. Mm-hmm. Mike was the parliamentarian. Everything went smoothly, I think.
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah.
There was a minor issue with the approval voting idea, but.
Well, the delegates decided that.
Yeah, and to be fair, I think that the way it was decided was probably the right answer. But. But the point was raised about the question of how do you know if people were double voting, but switching it to have NOTA go first, I think solved that problem.
Well, I don't think the delegates decided right. As you noted, I saw I was on the losing side. I raised the point of order, and then when I saw I was on the losing side, you saw I left the room, because I couldn't be.
You had to cool off.
No, I just didn't want to be a part of it. I didn't want to be a part of that vote. So I was standing in the hallway, but I left the room. I wasn't going to win. I am not going to waste the delegates' time. I raised my point of order, and that's fine. Everyone was happy. That's fine. We did do it with the contested race. So.
And the moral of the story and all that is that you guys have got to go back through and take a visit to the bylaws that we both had a role in writing, so owning it.
No, it's never perfect.
But getting them consistent with each other for the different types of elections. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it needs to be consistent. There's some things that are in our convention rules that need to be in the bylaws and not in the convention rules. I think we need to be more flexible on some things. And to be honest with you, I think you and I admitted this last year. The way the delegate allocation section, not allocation, delegate selection one is written, it's bad.
Well, keep in mind, we didn't know any better at the time, and we've gotten better at that since then.
Well, we knew a little bit, but
Not
enough
like
to
we
be
do now.
dangerous. Right.
Not like we know, yeah.
But I have to be honest with you, the delegate selection, now it went smoothly, this convention. Everyone who wanted to go got to go.
Yeah.
Caucus didn't matter. Everyone who wanted to go got to go. But I have to say, and if anyone's looking at Colorado bylaws, our bylaws are really good, except for the delegate allocation, not allocation, selection.
Yeah.
That section is dog shit.
And that's an area where, to be fair, we when we put it in there, we didn't understand totally how bad it was at the time. But we've gotten smarter over the years with it.
Yeah. And a very interesting thing came up on the forum on that. And we can talk about it because it ended up not being an issue at convention.
Yeah.
We put in there no elections by slate.
Yes.
And what we mean by slate is where, and it's normally when you have less than we could have done it this time. We only had 24 names and we had 35 spots to just say, elect those 24 in one vote. Yeah. Now, my question was, is that a bylaw in the nature of a rule of order? I think it is. But what was brought up on the Roberts Forum, which I thought was great, yes, it's a bylaw in the nature of a rule of order,
right,
which you can suspend, but because all the names are unrelated, it could be divided again upon the demand of one member, so you have to suspend it unanimously. And I think that's right, too.
See, this is an area where I still have trouble with Roberts, because, yeah, it allows for bylaws in the nature of a rule of order. Mm-hmm. And I know, and we've talked about this a while in the past, how there's been a long-standing effort in the national bylaws, to Alicia Mattson and your own credit.
Mostly Alicia,
but still, to get those rules of order out of the bylaws.
And into the convention rules.
Where they belong. But at the state level, we haven't totally done that.
Right.
And what drives me nuts about them is like, well, okay, on one hand, bylaws are not supposed to be suspended. But on the other hand, it's a rule which is supposed to be allowed to be suspended.
And not everyone agrees
on what
is...
I know, and it comes to the question of, if it's a rule of order, it pertains to exactly what, and then and it's important enough to be in the bylaws that you don't want to suspend it, is what I always understood to be.
And the AIPSC is different from Roberts on that. It does not recognize bylaws in the nature of a rule of order. If it's in the bylaws, it can't be suspended.
Which, to me, is the simple answer.
It is, but what if you do something really dumb, like put a standing order of business in the bylaws, like some groups do?
Sometimes,
they're dumb. That's the answer.
Well, what if that standing rule of order has to say the first thing you're doing is taking a roll call?
But
as a simple example,
here's the answer to it.
You got to have that to get a quorum in the first place.
Play stupid games.
You win stupid prizes. Yes, I know.
I am starting to really hate the concept of bylaws in the nature of a rule of order.
I don't particularly care for them either, to be honest, because to me that's blurring a line that shouldn't be blurred.
I actually think Roberts should change that.
There's a lot of things Roberts should change.
And if somebody ends up with a dumb bylaw that way, again, FAFO, and change your bylaws. Because the very fact that I had to go onto the forum and ask, is this a bylaw in the nature of a rule of order? And there wasn't. Most people did agree that it was, but not everyone agreed that it was. I think it's definitely.
What was old Krusty's position?
I don't think he weighed in on it. It was mostly Gary, and I think Richard weighed in on it, and I'm not sure who else weighed in on it. And
old Krusty is Dan Hahnemann, who doesn't like it when I point out using his own words in the book against him.
I think I have a question for you, but you can decline to answer it if you think it will compromise. Okay. By the way, I don't think you needed to recuse from that JC decision.
I at the time, because we had discussed it in advance, I could and as much criticism as I've gotten in the past on past cases for
it wouldn't have made a difference.
Us doing stuff here.
It still wouldn't have made.
It wouldn't have made a difference. But at the time, it was like, okay, do I have to avoid all this criticism? Let's just step away from this. And here's what I think was a legitimate reason, because I already talked about this in advance, not knowing it was going to come from the JC, but in retrospect, not knowing what was about to come down the pipe for me personally, which has nothing to do with the JC.
It ended up being good for you personally.
It did, because I literally, folks, was out of work in a hospital for almost a month. Which had nothing to do with the JC, nothing to do with the LP. I just got physically screwed up. Okay, not long story, not worth repeating here, but that's what happened. So recusing myself before that happened actually turned out to be a blessing in disguise.
But I really don't. But I didn't say anything before because that's a personal decision. But now that it's over with, I actually don't think you needed to recuse yourself.
Others said the same, but I figured better safe than sorry in this case.
Here's the way I feel about JC members expressing opinions on things, particularly when they didn't know it was going to come up before the JC.
We had no way of knowing.
But even... And it shouldn't have. That's why you and I did the show, because it was a dead issue.
We thought it was, yes, but obviously they didn't get the memo.
Yeah, but in any
apparently
event,
never did the rest of the JC for that matter. But a whole different question.
I don't have a problem with JC members expressing opinions on things that are before a decision or could come, as long as, and only they can know this in their heart, that they are willing to change their mind if they hear an argument that's persuasive. And that's how, I mean, I could be absolutely convinced
for
on
me,
something.
that wasn't the case here. To me,
well, but you didn't, I think if you heard an argument.
To me, it was cut and dried.
But I think if you heard an argument that was new, that you had never, and you were like, oh.
You mean like the stuff that Blay tried to put out in his opinion?
But that wasn't new. We even talked about that kind of stuff on the show.
About the region being the judge of their own elections versus the LNC?
But that was new, and I think if it was good, you would have said so.
It wasn't good.
It wasn't good.
It was
but I think if it was good, you would have said so.
Blay was axle wrapped around the idea that the region is a formal organization similar to the LNC or a state affiliate, and he was told repeatedly, no, it's not. But he just refused to let that idea go away, and that's what guided his opinion, and it's foundationally incorrect.
But kind of the opinion I always have with the JCs, you win some, you lose some. I mean, I lost the JFC case. I think that was an absolutely bad decision. And, I think this was a bad decision, but, you win some, you win some, you lose some.
You win some, you lose some, and frankly, I will say this directly, my opinions have always been fully cited and sourced, and they can't argue with my diligence, even if they disagree with my conclusions.
The LNC would have lost that one even if you did vote. It would have been a 4-3.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Because Mark and Krawcheck were on that, right?
Right, and I would have been the same way too, because as Krawcheck actually, while his approach to these things is not the same as mine, he came to the same conclusion.
Yeah, he came to the same conclusion.
He tends to look at relief requested without bothering to look at the rest of the arguments first.
But his argument was really good. Like, not qualified, just like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay, so Keith Thompson put up a hilarious meme after the decision came up.
Okay.
And it was, you apparently didn't see it.
No,
so it was a picture of the LP.org page with like everyone's picture. And for Region 1, he had a couple dogs there. And he didn't mean it like calling them dogs, but like saying they can elect a dog now. Like, who says it has to be a human? If the region is fine with it, like how that dog was elected mayor.
He should have put a minion up there.
But it could be anything, And I thought that was pretty funny. He's like, according to the JC decision, human.
And that was the fundamental flaw of the argument. The argument was that the qualifications don't matter, which is complete nonsense, because if they didn't matter, they wouldn't be in the bylaws in the first place.
And Richard, if you're meaning the JC recording, it's on Elpedia. So if you find the case on Elpedia,
it's up there.
Mike sent me the recording. There was already a link up there that was, I think, on Kinsella's account,
right.
But I put it to the historical committee account. So the recording is up there. The recording of the one a week ago,
the Campbell case,
that was up there,
right? But they're both up there.
Yeah. All right.
And frankly, if Richard, if you didn't see the Campbell one, I would suggest watching it, because at one point Caryn reported a murder.
Yeah, I called the FBI and reported a murder. Actually, I called the FBI 3 times and reported a murder.
And the reason why is because, I'm going to say it directly, I destroyed him in the questioning.
I had secondhand embarrassment. In any event, do we have any other Robert stuff?
Well,
I don't know how do you change your name, Richard. I'm not ignoring.
That's probably a YouTube account thing.
Yeah,
to be
that's
honest.
probably, yeah.
But what you call it? Oh, the LNC meeting.
I don't think there was anything else.
He's asking about the LNC recording.
Oh, no. It was okay, let me put it to you this way. The LNC records it, and I don't know what they do with those recordings. I honestly have no idea what they're not sending them to the historical committee. If they sent the file to the historical committee, I would upload it on the historical YouTube channel.
But the simulcast that Caryn Ann did is on this channel.
Yes, and LP Allies. If you don't want to hear,
the Alliance.
Yeah, if you don't want to hear me talking over and doing the bunchy noise,
the JC recordings are up on LP.
Yeah, I put bunchy noise every time Austin Martin speaks. So if you don't want that, and the LP Alliance does not give commentary when the meeting's going. To me...
Bungie.
Yeah.
It's not going.
Oh, because it's on a different scene.
Yeah.
To me, if someone wanted to watch the LNC meeting without any commentary, they could just register and listen to it.
Yeah.
I do it on my channel because people like hearing me rant and rave. And sometimes there's parliamentary points that they want to hear. So if you don't want to hear any interruptions, mine's not the channel to watch it on. It's as simple as that.
But on the other hand, if you enjoy the biting sarcasm along the way and the crazy asides, it's the perfect place to be.
The best part of the meeting was the discussion when they were in executive session. There was really good discussion that went on that
See,
time.
at that point, I was actually over at Black Eyed Pea having dinner.
No, there was good discussion.
Sorry, it's the first time I've been in a Black Eyed Pea in like 3 years. So it's like, okay, I'm back here. I'm going to do that because I can, you know.
And JJ and I had a disagreement in that discussion. It was a respectful disagreement, but it was a disagreement.
So
I don't even know your opinion.
The question was that why were you right and why was he wrong?
Well, you might think he's right. Let me. Okay, here I want your honest opinion.
Okay.
Nothing to do with personalities. The LNC bylaws say that an LNC rep can only be removed by an action of the state chairs.
Correct.
I believe that's what it says.
That's close to that, yeah.
The Region 1 agreement, I think, is an action of the state chairs. That's what formed the region. They all signed it. In the Region 1 agreement, it delegates that power to the LNC. Okay. It says, well, partially. It says we can remove our reps, but so can the LNC.
So it's a split, yeah.
I think that's perfectly within the LNC bylaws. It is by an action of the state chairs.
Yeah.
They're allowed to delegate their authority.
They've decided in advance that if the LNC wants to do that, they can.
Yes, as long and it laid out guidelines for the LNC, as long as they follow the same procedure as removal of an at-large.
Which is respecting the wishes of the region in the process.
Right. Where's
the problem here?
People are saying, no, it has to be a vote of the state chairs. I go, they did it in advance.
Yeah,
they delegated that authority.
They did.
And JJ said, no, he didn't think. And I said, I respectfully disagree. It'd be very interesting if this ever came before the
besides,
JC.
You helped them write it, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah.
But
you're a first source.
But I think it's valid. It says that they have to follow the procedure for at-large, which means trial.
Right.
You know, all the things
stuff that's in Article 7, yeah.
Yeah, all the things that an at-large would get. The only thing they don't get is it says, but no appeal to the JC will be allowed. The recourse of the region, if they disagree with the decision of the LNC, is to simply reappoint
the guy. Yeah, which makes perfect sense.
To me, that's logical. Yeah. JJ said he thought that was against the bylaws. I get that argument. I don't think it is.
It's not, because the agreement by the chairs is prescribing the conditions under which they're delegating the ability to the LNC to act.
It would be interesting.
There's nothing wrong with that.
It would be interesting.
Theoretically, the Region 1 agreement could, and I want to make this up, could select a region chair to make this shit up and say that person has that authority to remove the regional rep if they want, on behalf of all the chairs.
Or could say we have a standing investigatory committee. There's any number of ways.
Yeah. Region 4, California, in the past, and I was there when it happened, they told the regional rep and alt that you are going to do this specific thing. This was back in the top 2 days. Mm-hmm. And if you don't, we have the votes, we're going to pull you off and put me on there instead.
It'd be interesting.
And that put them in line because they didn't want me on the LNC.
It would be interesting to see that come
Especially if there's glaring holes from the whole meeting.
come before the JC. Though I don't know if the next regional agreement will have that, but I think it's perfectly valid.
I don't see why it wouldn't be.
So yeah. I'm trying to think if there's...
The region agreement wants to say the region rep has to spin around 3 times on one foot and saying, with a finger to his head like this, saying, "I will follow the wishes of the chairs to get the job."
Well, our regional
on camera, then they can do it.
Our regional agreement says that they have to get a vote of the state chairs, and they haven't been. It, to me, that's that the now there isn't time for a trial, so the LNC couldn't get rid of them now.
Right.
But I would think that would be valid cause. I do think that's if your regional agreement says that you're supposed to get a vote of the state chairs and you don't, I actually do think that's gross misconduct.
Well, yeah, because otherwise you've gone rogue.
Yeah, you absolutely. Yeah. Not that you missed asking them 1 or 2 times.
No.
That you never ask them.
Yeah.
That's a bit different.
Yeah, deliberate versus accidental.
Yeah. All right. Richard doesn't like my commentary. Everyone's insulting me tonight.
He just says doesn't like commentary at all.
I'm projecting.
Yeah. But yeah, Richard, the JC recordings are up on LPD.
Well,
when we say a murder, what happened was, I'll be honest, because it's out there. So this I can say this. Jesse Campbell was not prepared.
No, he was not prepared.
I went in there with a series of questions, and I'm going to put it bluntly, I demolished him.
I missed Austin Martin.
I was actually hoping Austin was going to start to try to chime in because
at least it would have been entertaining. So this is, you can be quiet if you need to. So this is what happened during this thing. Somebody would ask Jesse a question, and then it was like,
pause,
and everyone was like, is he Googling the answer now?
And, yeah. Well, we're in deliberations right now anyway. But
yeah.
My own opinion's already been drafted.
And
so.
yeah, and I don't want to hear any of that.
No.
So
it'll show itself eventually.
Yeah. Jesse is on.
It's just through Wednesday anyway.
But y'all were late on the Martin one.
We were late on the Martin one because Blade was asleep at the switch.
Okay, I'm going to tell you an unpopular opinion.
Yeah.
I think if the JC, if it didn't already have a prior vote to suspend its rules and is late, I think the appeal is lost.
Oh, it's funny you should mention that because in the proposed amendment to the rules for the next term, they actually have that in there almost verbatim.
Yeah.
That if that failure to rule sustains the LNC decision.
Yep. But
which is exactly consistent with the member suspension parts of the bylaws.
But I do think that the JC can suspend its rules and give itself additional time, but they have to do that before the time runs out, and they have to notify
everybody involved.
They have to notify everybody
because it's always the possibility of some weird shit happens, like half the members went up in the hospital. And I'll say this,
or there's a holiday, which happened with my case. But you have to suspend the rules ahead of time.
Right.
But that's just me.
Yeah.
But I also think you guys should have a longer time frame. I don't think that's enough time. What's the LPCO is 30 days, isn't it?
I forget, but I think it's something like that.
If it's a complex case, I think y'all's time frames are too short. Now, I don't agree with Ken that JC members should be able to remove JC members.
Oh, he's pissed about that. I'll air this small piece of laundry because it's out there anyway.
Oh, well, he shared it with me, so it's not confidential.
Well, is that number one? He doesn't like lawyers. And
he's open about that.
And number two, he doesn't like people like me who actually know the parliamentary stuff and the bylaws, because he likes to base his decisions based on what he feels is common sense. The problem is his sense isn't that common all the time.
I mean, there's a time and place for common sense. I don't think the current ruling on that, and again, you recuse yourself, on that case, I do think the majority ruling was totally, I do think there's a place for common sense. Yeah. You know, my opinion on Roberts always has been, and this is where I'm a heretic, that there has to be considerations of equity and common sense. There really does. And actually, I think General Roberts agrees with me. I wish I had the quote right in front of me where, you know,
is it in there?
No, it's in parliamentary law. It might be in here as well, but he actually talked about like the rules aren't there for parliamentary foosball the way you used to say.
I still say it sometimes.
Yeah, they're there to facilitate and not entrap.
Yeah.
That's not the words he used, but that's
as I've pointed out several times recently on the forums, General Robert was an engineer. He was not a lawyer. And the lawyers have co-opted Roberts.
Well,
and when an engineer
as a paralegal, I'm kind of going to defend the lawyers a bit here.
You're not a lawyer.
But I'm a paralegal. When you're a paralegal...
That means you know twice as much as the lawyers.
Well, some.
No, because you're a paralegal, not a monolegal.
Oh.
But the thing of it is...
I can tell you my current boss is fantastic.
But the thing of it is also, though, is that they don't like it when an engineer comes in and points out the problems in the structure, which I do a lot because I keep finding more problems.
Now, I don't share Ken's distaste of lawyers on the JC. I mean, because their legal concepts do carry over.
There's a guidance and a parallelism in parts. I'll say that.
So I don't share his distaste for lawyers.
I mean, one of my big gripes with Roberts is that it explicitly says that as long as it's procedurally valid, an organization may pass a motion to do something that is illegal.
Yes.
And I'm sorry, but no, that's fucking wrong.
No, I disagree with you. What if you're the Bank Robbers Association?
Well, the problem is, though, there's another spot in there that says that you can't have things that violate law. Well,
it says substantive procedural law.
No, it actually says criminal law.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, there's a spot in there.
No, it doesn't. It changed. It used to.
Actually, I'll find it the easy way. I have the PDF on here.
I dare you.
The indexed PDF. So
I dare you. It doesn't. Richard, weigh in here. It doesn't. It used to just say law. I don't know if it was the 11th or the 10th, but now it just says substantive procedural law.
Hang on, let me find it here. Where's my...
Because you can have an organization that has its object. Like, for instance, forget about, well, the LP might do this too. The LP might decide to make a motion that they're going to go out in the middle of town square and snort lines of cocaine in order to protest drug laws. That motion would be perfectly in order. It doesn't violate procedural law. It violates criminal law. You can have a bank robbers association. Just make sure that you're doing it according to procedure, that you're going to go there when the bank is open.
The only problem with this PDF, and the PDF is actually very good. It's cross-reference in English.
Richard agrees with me. I'm telling you, I'm 100% right on this. What should I bet him? Richard, give me... I'm not going to bet him to shave his head. That's a bit too much.
No.
Wear a dress to convention one day.
No.
A skirt, a kilt.
Do I look like Daryl Perry?
I love kilts. I think kilts are great.
I don't have the legs for a kilt, so it's got to be here somewhere.
Okay, but answer.
I'll find it.
Okay, when you do, answer me this question though.
Okay.
Why do women wear skirts when they don't really got anything that can get compressed up in that area? And men wear pants and they got things that can get compressed up in that area. Wouldn't it make more sense for men to wear skirts?
You mean like this?
That was a gift. Wouldn't it, though? But seriously, anatomically, doesn't it make more sense for men to wear skirts and women to wear pants?
Anatomically, yes, but I'll tell you, I've worn pink shirts in the past, Richard. I have one in my wardrobe, thank you. I'm not afraid of wearing a pink dress shirt. I've done it many times.
I just don't get it, though.
I'll tell you exactly why. And this is going to sound very crude.
Because of horses?
Partially that, but there's something else. Guys want women to wear skirts so they can look up them.
Or so they can have easy access.
Oh, yes.
Okay. But still, anatomically, it seems much more practical for men to wear kilts. We're not going to call it a skirt because we're not going to...
No.
But kilts. and women to wear pants. But I get with the riding.
Which is why the Scots in their kilts are regimental. But anyway.
But I get the riding the horses thing, because the men were the warriors, and a lot of them ride horses, and riding a horse on a skirt.
And it's extremely ridiculous to try to ride a horse in a skirt. Ask Lydia.
Yeah, you gotta do side saddle to do that properly. Right. Okay. Now we've covered everything. I don't think
to the end of this so I can actually keep the search correct.
Okay, well, I'm telling you, I'm right. How about this? Like in Grand Rapids, once we're proven I'm right, you owe me a drink.
You'll be toast. You'll be plastered anyway.
Oh, I plan on being plastered. I've got no duties. Yes, Mike has asked me to be a teller, and what did I say?
You said no.
I said no.
Because you're still pissed that I'm doing it.
I am still pissed that he's doing it.
Even though she's more qualified to do it than I am, because it's her system to begin with.
But I said no. He did ask me. I said, and I can't be too drunk to do it. That would be the right answer, because now that I know I'm going to be a delegate, I have to be sober minded during business hours. But outside of business hours, I intend upon being. Oh, we weren't friends in 2016. That was back when we hated each other, I think.
Was it 16 was when the Springs Massacre happened? Yeah, it was.
Oh, it was right after that. But
yeah.
During those few years, nobody knows that Mike and I used to be like
two bighorn sheep butting heads.
Yeah. So, and he yelled at me at convention. But in any event, in 2016, I got so plastered. You know this story, but not everyone has. I don't know. We were with some group drinking, and I'm like, I need to use the bathroom. Couldn't find a bathroom on that floor. I'm sure there was, but I was just too drunk to find it. I went down 2 floors, found a bathroom, and promptly passed out. And Wayne's waiting for me. And he's like, they had to search that fucking hotel for me.
Oh, jeez.
Because I was passed out in the bathroom 2 floors down in Orlando.
I didn't know what the hell was going on.
Oh, so I am looking forward to a convention, because I've been completely sober ever since 2016 at every LP convention, because I just have too many duties. I am looking forward to just being a libertarian degenerate at this convention. Absolutely looking forward to it.
So in other words, you're just going to be normal.
Well, but not during business hours. If I wasn't a delegate, I'd be plastered the whole time. But being a delegate, I will be a responsible delegate. But then I was saying to Wayne, I was kind of bummed, because I always dress up for convention. You know that. I wear a dress. I don't go in jeans and a t-shirt and all that. I'm like, shit, now I got to pack dresses. At least for convention hours. Because I can't wear jeans and a t-shirt. I could if I wasn't a delegate, but I just think it's respectful to the convention to dress up. Well, when you're wrong...
Still finding it.
Nah, you're not going to find it.
It's
so
just the searching is being a pain in the ass.
But you're still not going to find it. Once we determine that he's wrong, we'll do a special show about it. He's going to owe me a drink. I'm going to find some really expensive ass drink, but he's going to owe me 1 drink, and we'll talk about it then. But
the only limitations upon the rules that such a body can thus adopt might arise from the rules of a parent body, as those national restricting its daily branches, or from national, state, or local law affecting the particular type of organization.
That's not
You
criminal.
can't break the fucking law.
Yes, you can. It's substantive procedural law.
That's not what it says here.
No, but
this is 2.2.
That's talking about like corporations and stuff like that.
It just says for the society, parent body.
Hold on, let me get. We're gonna go here. That's talking about the type of organization. That's a procedural.
No, it's talking about the rules.
No, affecting that type of organization.
An organized society, 2.1.
I'm telling you, it's just procedural.
I'm reading it right here.
Go ask on the forum. I know you're going to yell at them, but go ask on the forum.
Of course I yell at them, because they hate it when I quote them and prove them wrong.
Hold on, let me find it here. But it is just procedural law, I'm telling you. And if you end up taking a test, I'm telling you, it's procedural law. Look, I gotta hate the index. The index sucks. La. Suspend the rules, violate conflicting motion. 1026. No. God, there's too many. 1026. Because this did change between... Let me see here. 1026. That doesn't... 1026 doesn't say shit. Richard, help me find the thing here. La la la.
Richard, read 2.1 and 2.2 and tell me why I'm wrong. Yeah, national, state, or local law affecting the particular type of organization.
That means the type
That's civil or criminal law by definition.
No, it's not.
Well, then what else type of law is it?
It's substantive law.
That's criminal and civil law. It's substantive by definition.
No, it's substantive procedural law.
Procedural law is what? Administrative?
Yes.
Administrative is civil.
Right. Not criminal.
It doesn't say civil in here. It just says law.
I'm telling
Which means
you,
it encompasses both. Remember, 56, 60 states.
I'm telling you that's not the case. You and I can argue about that. We argue about a lot of things, like the vice chair ascending.
Yes, and I was right because the bylaws say what it said, and the rules do not say it has to all say it in one place.
I'm trying to find the substance.
And there's no place in Roberts that says it has to all be said in one place, and the bylaws trump the rules anyway. What other rule, Richard? Give us a citation, man.
I'm looking for the citation. It is in there. But the index isn't helping me. So we'll see if... and did it change between the 10th and the 11th or the 11th and the 12th? Because it did used to say what you said.
I'm reading it right here.
I'm telling you. 1055, maybe? I hate this.
2.2. The only limitations upon the rules that such a body can thus adopt might arise from the rules of the parent body, such as those of a national society restricting its state and local branches, which we do in our bylaws, or from national, state, or local law, doesn't say...
Affecting that type of organization.
Affecting that particular type of the organization. It doesn't say administrative, procedural, civil, or criminal. It just says law.
It's procedural.
And if you're trying to tell me that criminal law does not affect an organization, I'm going to sit here and try to sell you a bridge in Brooklyn.
The authorities can come after you, but it's not out of order.
That's my point.
Oh, but it's not out of order. It's not out of order. You can vote to violate the law. That's why you could at the time before, like, say there was some kind of, I can't think of anything today, but some kind of civil rights being violated. You could have an organization that's purposely breaking that law in order to change it. Do you have a word search on there?
I do.
Look up substantive.
Substantive. It's going to create all sorts of...
No, procedural. No, because that's going to have so much. Maybe substantive procedural?
Hang on. Let's try substantive first.
Because the index isn't helping me. And we might have to bring this to... And this could be the subject for another show, because I'm sure people are just finding it fascinating with us flipping through...
Main motion is with substantive action. That's 464, but we knew that already.
Yeah.
Which is not what we're talking about here. Substantive question. Fine. We don't disagree on that. That's 10.3. Fine. Incidental main motion does not mark any...
Oh, I know where it's in 23.6. I think it's in there too. Yeah, it's right here. So 23.6 about points of order. It's in another place, but it's in 23.6C about things that create continuing breaches. Any action that has been taken in violation of applicable procedural rules prescribed by federal, state, or local law. So Richard put up the same thing I did. So
what they're saying there is that an action taken that violates the laws is a breach of the bylaws, which means you can't freaking do it.
Procedural.
It doesn't matter.
It says that in 23.6.
Procedural rules prescribed by federal, state, or local law. Procedural rule means what? You can't go out and kill somebody.
That's not a procedural rule.
A procedural rule, yes, it is. You can't go out and do the procedure of killing somebody.
Okay, here's where we go, where you like to say you're an engineer and not a lawyer. I work in law. That's not procedural law. Procedural law is something like you have to file an answer to a complaint within 20 days after being served. There's nothing moral about that. It's just relating to the orderly transaction. Another procedural law would be in Colorado, at any meeting that we're going to elect officers, we have to advertise in a newspaper 14 days before. That's procedural law. That's not substantive law. I mean, it's not criminal law. It's procedural in nature.
Does it contain penalties for noncompliance?
That doesn't change the difference. And there's a big argument.
The answer is yes, but
no, procedural law can do that. I mean, it's only it's just like what parliamentarians. There's a huge argument as to whether something's a bylaw in the nature of rule of order or not. There's edge cases. Lawyers argue all the time over what's procedural or not.
Yes,
but the ones that I named are clearly procedural. But there are edge cases. Yeah. But it used to say any law. And that changed. When did that change?
When Hahnemann was drunk, probably.
Is there anything in here that notes what changed between the 11th and the 12th in the intro?
Probably up in the intro.
Yeah, in the intro. But it might have been between the 10th and the 11th. I don't recall. We're not going to go through that too much because that's just going to bore the living hell out of people. Let me ask. Oh, Joe asked a question. Can there be a motion to object to consideration of a motion for amending the minutes?
Objecting to a motion to object to consideration of a question for amending minutes. Amending minutes is amend something. Well,
it's not previously adopted.
Well, it could be if they've already been adopted. But so it's kind of a
okay. Yeah, but let's just say it's
not.
Let's say it's not.
So then it's just a regular motion to amend, which is subsidiary, right?
Is it?
It's not a main.
It's not a main motion.
So
yeah, that's not a main motion.
Right. So I would say no.
It changed before the 12th edition. So we have the 11th here. Was it in 23.6? Hold on. I got to... Okay, you guys are going to think I'm crazy, but my camera's being held up right now by the 11th edition of Robert's Rules of Order.
She's right. It's on the floor down there.
So I'm going to go substitute the 12th down there, and let's look at what the 11th...
Beware of the jostle here, folks. It's only temporary.
Whoa.
Careful.
Let's see what the 11th said. Okay, let's see. Let me move. Oh, this book's a little bit thicker. Okay.
Okay, you're gonna need to shift it a little. The camera. No, shift the camera a little bit.
Yeah, I will.
It got directionally shifted.
But this works. But this doesn't have it by chapter, so I can't go to 23.6. But we can go to 23. No, it says procedural rules here too, Robert.
Types of procedural rules: civil procedure, criminal procedure, appellate procedure, administrative procedure.
Go ask on the form. It'd be really interesting to ask.
Not adopted yet. Draft minutes, says Joe.
It says the same thing here in the 11th. So this would be an interesting question. But let's talk about this minutes thing. Move to substitute the addition. Well, I don't know what you're talking about. No, so a motion to approve. A motion isn't really required to approve the minutes. Minutes are approved once they're done with amendments or there is no objection. But a motion to amend, it's not a main motion to amend, because the only time a motion to amend is a main motion is when it's a motion to amend something previously adopted.
Right.
Then it's a main motion. The minutes have not yet been adopted. I don't think you can object to consideration of the question. I think you just have to vote it down.
Yeah, it only applies to original main motions.
Yeah. I don't think you can... We'll see what Richard weighs in here. I don't think you can object to consideration. But let me ask you, Joe, why in the world would you want to? There's this... And you could have a good reason. I'm just trying to dream up of one. You usually...
We need some context here.
Yeah. The purpose of a motion to object to consideration generally is because you think the matter would be too embarrassing or damaging to the society.
Or to quote 26.1, its purpose is to enable the Assembly to avoid a particular original main motion altogether when it believes that it would be strongly undesirable for the motion to come before the Assembly. Strongly undesirable. How... This is Roberts being trying to be diplomatic.
So an example I had heard is say, and I don't even remember where I heard this, is say that the founder of your society, Mr. Smith, he's obviously a revered member of your society because he was the founder.
Yeah.
But it turns out that Mr. Smith has some skeletons in his closet, and he's running for some public office, and somebody wants the society to endorse him or commend him. And it would look really bad not to because he was the founder, but it would also look really bad to do so because of the skeletons in his closet. So this is a way for the society to avoid the question entirely without taking any position whatsoever. That's kind of what objection to consideration is about.
Amendment previous is an incidental main motion.
But it's not an original main motion.
No, it's an incidental one.
No.
It's right here.
Oh yeah, no, it's an incidental one. I said it was a main motion. I didn't say original.
Oh, okay. That's fair.
No, it's incidental.
Yeah.
But I was first...
I was going to say, wait a second. I know it's not an original.
No, it's not an original. But I was just saying is that...
as much as we've gone through the incidentals and originals lately with all this SIC stuff.
Yeah, no, I was
we got it down by now.
I was just getting to the point that it's not any kind of main motion.
No, it's not.
It's only one case in which amend, because we were doing that when we were doing the calendar. We got that wrong.
Yeah.
We were like, amend is a main motion? And then it's like, oh yeah, motion to amend something previously adopted. That's a main motion.
That's again, this is a case of Robert splitting a hair.
Yeah. Okay, I think we're done.
Yeah, because even though it's about...
But that's interesting about the rules.
It's,
about the laws. I'm now curious.
That's local time, right?
No, look at the computer. I never change my clocks.
Oh, 9 shit. Yeah, I got to get up at like 4 a.m. to go to the airport.
And I got to eat dinner. Yeah, I never change that clock. It's right half the year. Okay, everyone. That's. I want to just see what this is here for a second. What's this new scene? It's us again. Why does it show blue? I had the green screen up at one time.
This is your rig.
I have no idea because I haven't done Cult of RONR forever. Okay, everyone. I hope you have an awesome night. All right. Bye-bye.
Favor! Let's hear the opposition side. Like a stubborn donkey's bray. All opposed? You say nay. Opposed! Opposed! The motion carries anyway.